What's up, everyone? It's Big Johnny Stud, Mr. Moving Averages at MLB, Moving AVG. Welcome back to Corked Stats. If you want to support my work, please hit up the link. Get on YouTube on the Corked Stats channel and subscribe. It's free. Like my mama said, if it's free, it's for me. I've been doing a little video series. I'm really digging this because I'm incorporating in charts and video to really kind of validate these more advanced arguments that we're making as we dive into these top tier starting pitcher ranks. And I just want to preface all these videos with the fact that if the conclusion comes out less than stellar, it doesn't mean I think these pitchers aren't any good. I think it's just our job as analysts to bust out the microscope, to pull on every single thread that we can find, trying to make our decision at the top of the leaderboard there. We know we've got Burns and Cole right at the top, and then it gets a little mushed up. I've seen Max go, Wheeler go, Buehler go, Nola go, Giolito and DeGrom all go in that spot, and that's what I'm here for you. Me, you, and the Cork Stats crew doing the thing that we do, getting through these SP ranks to help you make the best proactive and not reactive decision on draft day. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's topic of discussion. Aaron Nola made all 32 starts last year for those Philadelphia Fighting Phils, just a touch over 180 innings pitched, 9 wins, a 4.63 ERA, 113 whip, a 690 OPS. I include OPS in my surface stats with ERA and whip as a third point on the line. Why? Because any 2 points make a line. A third point hopefully will either validate or invalidate those previous assumptions and give us a direction with which to investigate. The ERA a bit high for an ace, the OPS as well, but the Sierra at 3.26, FIP and XFIP both at 3.37. Those earned run indicators, like Nola, a bit better than the ERA, but when we dive in, I'm not so sure. If you're new to my work, well, hi, welcome. I'm Johnny. But what I like to do, because I talk so fast, is to slow myself down. I like to break players and teams down into compartmentalized statistical baskets. That way no one stat will tip the scale and make us make the wrong decision. Those baskets being surface stats we just mentioned, or we would go over to disciplinary metrics, then elevation, and then batted ball quality. So let's dive on into the disciplinary metrics for Aaron Nola in 2021. He was phenomenal. 29.8% K rate with a 5.2% walk. That was the best of his career. 25% K minus walk jumping off the page. Swinging strike rate, best of his career, just under 14. CSW, that's your called strikes plus whiffs, over 32, with a benchmark for excellence being 30. The O swing better than the average, that's your chase rate at 34. In-zone contact rate at 82. Now, the chase rate and in-zone contact rate are both better than average, but they're really not where I want my aces metrics to be. Again, these are very good pitchers. We're looking for the cream of the crop. So Nola's disciplinary basket is very good as far as swing and miss. I'd like to see him be a little bit better with the chase and the in-zone contact rate. Over to elevation we go. He keeps the ball down, oh so important. 40% ground ball rate, the line drive rate below 20, the fly ball rate up over 40. But before we overreact to the fly ball rate, 10.5% of those are infield flies, which have like a 0 batting average. Not to worry. Elevation metrics firmly in place. Over to batted ball we go. Hard hit rate both on Fangraphs and on StatCast at 37%. If you're new to my work and looking for some nuance and wondering why those metrics can be different, in this case they're the same, but they can be different because on Fangraphs they use Baseball Information Solutions, which has a subjective human element. StatCast, Baseball Savant, uses a raw 95-mile-an-hour metric to define hard hit rates. I'm often asked which is the best. The answer is always both. You can never have too much nuance. Back to Aaron Nola and his batted ball quality. Allowed 7% barrel, 4.5% blast. Again, not great. If you're unfamiliar with blasts, they're the ideal subset of barrels. The barrel of barrels, if you're where I come from, is the Cadillac of barrels. 296 WOBA looking really good. 280 expected WOBA just fine as well. WOBAcon 394, expected WOBA on contact at 370. Now, those are not terrible. They're on the wrong side of average. And the big problem here is that home run rate from last year, 1.3. Again, league average, but not what we want from our ace. When we go into the game log, if you follow me back from my days at The Athletic, I had to go further than the quality start when trying to define the best starts on an individual basis. And I derived the money start, right, where 6 innings pitched 3 earned runs is not very good. 6 innings pitched is a 50th percentile distance metric. 4.5 ERA is mediocre at best. I decided to up the parameters to 7 innings minimum, 2 earned runs maximum. Those are the starts we want to circle, being the best. Right? Aaron Nola only had 4 of those last year. Really not great. 1 out of 8, not going to get it done from your starter. Go back to the other videos and see the QS money percentage on those other top starters. Nola didn't really get it done for us. He only had 9 Ks or more 10 times. He only went 6 innings or more 14 times and only threw 100 pitches or more 10 times. Not to say game log reading is the way to get next year's projections done, but that's not what we want. All of that production, or lack thereof, was capped because of the home runs allowed that I mentioned before. 26 home runs allowed from Nola, and it was an even split, 14 to lefties and 12 to righties. So it's not really a split thing, lefty-righty, but let's continue with the splits as we dive on in. Nola was very good at home. Really no surprise there. 3.86 ERA at home, 271 WOBA allowed. That's just fine. The problems developed on the road. Last year he had a 5.27 ERA on the road, 742 OPS, 1.4 home runs per 9 allowed, 3 earned runs or more in 13 of 18 starts. Woof. And before you go yelling at me for a small sample argument, his ERA on the road is better than 5 since 2019, above 5 since 2019. That's a trend, though. Road stats are a bit wonky. They're a little bit flimsy, and this is not enough to act, but we do have our first kind of red flag. Where's the next place we always want to go look? It's to the pitch mix. And when we look at Nola's pitch mix, it is extremely balanced. I can't remember another profile I've seen that has this kind of equal deployment. Is an essential 50-50 split on all of his pitches, the four-seamer, the curve, the change, and the sinker to righties and lefties. So right off the bat, my intuition says it's not the pitch mix. The next place we always want to go, a good place to center your analysis when breaking down a pitcher, is the fastball, and the first place to look for that would be with velo and spin rate. If you look up at the charts I have, you don't need to be a market whiz or have an expertise in technical analysis to know these charts are pretty bullish. Velocity looking strong, spin rate looking strong, so I don't think that's the issue. But when you look at the performance on the pitch, it allowed a 5.21 xSlug and only 22% whiff rate with 11 home runs. So if it's not the velo and not the action, it's probably the location. Let's take a look. If you look at Nola's fastball location from last year, he was living in the middle, and that's a major problem. You cannot miss middle, and to expand on that, we saw that happen with the curve as well, which was always such a good pitch, has taken a turn in the wrong direction. Let's see what I mean. When we take a look at the curve, let's look at my own individual triple slash, just something to help me simplify a single pitch. I use usage, xSlug, and then whiff rate. So we have an idea of deployment, batted ball quality, and then swing and miss, the 3 important pillars of individual pitch characteristics. It was very good overall. 27% use, a 3.11 xSlug, and a 36% whiff rate. Check, check, check. You think it's all good in the hood, except 22 extra base hits allowed and 10 home runs. That's a major problem. Look at the chart. Notice the middle miss location for those home runs. It doesn't matter how good of a pitch it is. If you're going to spot it in that zone, it's going to wind up in the seats. I went to expand in years prior. Take a look at the disparity from the year before. Look where the curveball home runs were in 2020. They're essentially sitting on the bottom black. We all know batted ball output for baseball can be wonky, and that's why nuance is so important. These 2020 home runs allowed are good pitches, not something we would want him to be worried about. But the misses in 2021, that is problematic to say the least. Now we got to dive into this curveball. Let's see what we could see. If you look at the run values in his career, the 3 best individual run values Nola has posted is on that curve between 17, 18, and 19 consecutively, and then something changes. We see the slug jump from a minuscule 260 to up over 400, but the whiff rate is retained. So what does that mean to me? That, again, it's more credence to my assertion that the problem is location. When the pitch is on, they're still getting the whiffs that they're looking for. But when he misses, it's getting hammered. This is a major problem, so I continued to dive on. I'd like to cite Alex Chamberlain from Fangraphs. Please follow him on Twitter. He does phenomenal work. This is from his leaderboard. You got to check this out. Notice the far right column, your heart percentage, the heart rate on the curve. Ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. Notice the increase year over year where we've had a 33% increase in heart location. So that's a 1/3 decrease in ideal location for Nola. So now we're seeing an actual objective verification of the assertion that he's missing middle often. And what happens, right? Because we need to assign a why. I kind of gave you a what, but what would be a good reason why? The first place to look for off-speed stuff, for me at least, is with spin rate. Look at the precipitous drop in spin rate on the curve. And then if you look at the graph to the right of it, we see the subsequent spike in home runs. So I really have my worry about this pitch. It doesn't mean he can't fix it, but now we have 2 years of it going in the wrong direction. This is not something I want to get behind with that draft capital. So I could probably get behind the misses with the fastball. I could probably be able to get past even the problems on the road. But now we're talking about problems with the curveball, spin rate, missing, and home runs. That's not the kind of thing that I want to get involved with. I was doing a little bit more digging as I learned how to play with this video a bit more. Hope everyone is digging it, man. Get up in the comments. Let me know how I'm doing. Check out what happens when he misses to the left. You see here an offering to belt, missing squared. That ball is ending up in the drink. And we mentioned right at the offset of the video, he's very balanced with his approach as far as handedness. So what ends up happening? The same thing to righties. He's been hanging that ball middle, and wallop. That thing is getting yoked, and it is long gone. Major issues for Nola to hitters on both sides of the plate with that curveball. So in conclusion, I am sorry, but I am getting away from Aaron Nola at the cost. I have concerns about the road. I've got concerns about the fastball location. And now I have major concerns about the spin rate and location of that curve. So if you see me in draft rooms in that second round, you know where I'll be going. Like Nola, I've had him in the past. I've drafted him in the past. But going forward, particularly among the ranks where he's going now, no thank you. I'd much rather have Max Scherzer, or if Scherzer's gone, I'd much rather have Zach Wheeler, apples to apples, over Aaron Nola. So thanks for sticking around, everybody. I hope you enjoyed picking up what I was putting down and you're liking my new venture, this video series. If you'd like to support my work, the best thing you could do right now is get up on YouTube and subscribe. Like I said, it's free. And if not, check me out on Twitter. Get at me any time of day, any day of the week on that Bluebird Twitter machine as we approach the 2022 MLB fantasy season. So everybody, please get up, comment, and let me know what kind of a job I'm doing. I'm going to keep bringing you these videos, building up a little library as people transition over from football. So I think that'll do it from the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, Big Johnny Stud. Thanks so much, everybody. One last time, remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck. Man, I'll check you on the flip side. Peace.